So let's remind you then that the NATO Secretary-General confirmed in his news conference the beginnings of a Russian advance do appear to be underway. Joining us to analyse the latest movements on the battlefield, retired Air Vice Marshal Sean Bell. Hi, good to see you, Sean. So this is happening then, perhaps earlier than usual, seeing as it's not really spring yet.
Yeah, it's looking forward to the spring offensive. Weren't we predicting what's going to happen? It's not spring yet, and there's been no Russian announcement. But actually, over the last 2 weeks, there's been a massive ramp-up in military activity on the Russian side. It's also worth pointing out, though, that the front line of this offensive is about 1,200 kilometres. And if you were to spread out Russian soldiers equally along that, there'd be about 6 metres between each of them, the width of this screen. So the point there is you've got to prioritise, and the Russians will have to prioritise their efforts. Almost certainly the two areas of priority are going to be around the Zaporizhzhia area, around here, and also around this remaining area of the Donbass. Although it is worth pointing out that despite those priority areas, Ukrainians are reporting that the Russians have been bombing dozens of cities on the eastern side of Ukraine in the last 24 hours. What are the objectives of the Russians going to be? Well, almost certainly they want to get some form of battlefield success, if not only for their domestic audience at home. The challenge is they've got no different weapons to use. They have managed to generate more soldiers, but those soldiers are very inexperienced, and as a result, the poor weather across in the winter still going on. They haven't had the chance of training. It's almost certainly Russia's going to get trapped into a very attritional form of warfare.
What do we expect specifically in Zaporizhzhia there?
The Zaporizhzhia, I think it's more the Russians will be paranoid about some form of thrust by the Ukrainian south down towards the coast. As a result, offence is generally the best form of offence, best form of defence, but Russia would have to open up a second front if they were to go on the offensive here, not just in the Donbass. They haven't been very successful with their first effort up there, so I think they're very unlikely to do a second one down here. The Ministry of Defence has been reporting there have been Russians digging in around Vasylyivka here and Orikhiv just to the north here, almost certainly preparing for the longer term. And Russia has time on its side here. It's unlikely they'll predict that Ukraine's going to do any sort of offence until it has the Western tanks, and they'll take a few weeks to arrive.
We've talked for quite a long time now, haven't we, about Bakhmut. That will be very familiar to viewers. What's happening there right now? Yeah,
very familiar. Over months we've been talking. Wagner Group have been leading on a lot of this. We've recently received footage posted online by the Wagner Group that claims some success. Sky has geolocated this footage. It is from a town to the north of Bakhmut. And if we look on the map itself, it's all part of Russian efforts to encircle Bakhmut. The footage was from Krasnohora here. And as you can see, the pincers are gradually coming around the outside of Bakhmut. That'll force a fight or flight decision for the Ukrainians in Bakhmut itself. They will almost certainly plan to withdraw because they won't want to lose everybody in there. So it'll be a planned withdrawal, but they'll make Russia pay a very high price for every step forward they take. And almost certainly they'll be heading off to Kramatorsk, which is going to be the next Bakhmut, most military analysts predict. But they're digging in there, and that's going to be a lot more difficult nut to crack than Bakhmut. For me, though, the part of this is it's really early for the offensive to set off. The weather is still poor. You can't really manoeuvre off the roads. The Russian Air Force can't get involved because the air is no good either. They haven't had the time to prepare. So why are they doing it? Almost certainly a response to Russian political pressure for two things. They want to see progress on the ground, and they want to see progress before the Western weapons arrive in a matter of weeks.
And it's coming up to the anniversary as well, isn't it? All right, Sean, thanks very much.